Yeah, thank you. So welcome, virtual community. I'm so excited that the Board of Developmental Disabilities is providing this as a resource for us. Rachel, are we recording, by the way? Okay. Just wanted to check on that. So I want to get to know you a little bit. So as Rachel said, my name is Linda Disser, and I am the Director of Community Development for the City of Lancaster. I just started this job in February. Yeah, so nothing global pandemic. I am at the office. I live a block away from City Hall, so I have you can't beat the commute. And I'm the only one in the office today for our department, so we're pretty socially distanced. But I'd like an opportunity to get to know you a little bit. And also, I just moved to Lancaster 2 years ago, so I'm fairly new, and I'm really, eager to learn as much as I can about Lancaster. And I've learned a little bit, but there's always more to know. So I'm really happy to be here and be part of the community. But I want to get to know you a little bit. And so I'm just going to actually call on a couple of you just to introduce yourselves and let me know, who you are and kind of who we have in the room. So Lisa Boley.
Hello. I'm an ISC that supports adults.
What's an ISC?
Individual Support Coordinator. The state calls us Service and Support Administrators. That's what you'll find in every county, but our county, we're known as ISCs.
Okay, great. And so you work for the county?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. And Carissa, how about you?
Hi, I work for Fairfield County as well, and I'm the Strategic Planning Coordinator.
Oh, I love it. I didn't know that we had a Strategic Planning Coordinator, so I'm excited to know that. Stephanie, can you unmute? Just share who
I'm Stephanie. I work for Fairfield DD and I am the payroll coordinator.
Ah, okay.
I think maybe I should clarify too. I work for Fairfield DD as well. So
yeah,
I better clarify that.
Oh, you do, Carissa. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I said Fairfield County, I didn't. Sorry.
No worries. And Karen, I recognize you from our leadership class.
Yes. How are you?
It's nice to see a face I've seen before. We've not actually met in person, but it's nice to actually recognize a face. So good morning.
Great. Of course, you probably already know I work for CareSource. I am a community marketing rep for CareSource in Franklin County, also Fairfield. So
I work with you're both Fairfield and Franklin County. Okay, great.
Yes.
Anyone else who would like to introduce yourselves, just to give me a sense of who else is in the room? Can't call on everybody, but if a couple more people will volunteer.
Hi, Linda. It's Andrea from United Way.
Andrea, I know you.
Just so you know, somebody else on here that you know.
And everyone else does too. I hadn't seen your name on there, so yes, it's nice to see. It's nice to see you and see a friendly, familiar face. Who else? All right, I'll call on one more person, Megan.
Good morning. I'm Megan Golden, and I'm the program coordinator for Crisis in Jail Services for New Horizons.
Hey, Megan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I have. I know Miranda, and I know that she's leaving. And
she left. Today is her first day with Adam H.
Yeah, so she left. So, but I don't know others at New Horizons, so it's nice to meet you.
Nice.
So, I wanted to get a sense of who's in the room, and I'll continue just to call on people because I'd like to, to get to know you a little bit more. And also for you, you may know everyone in the room, but you may not. So this is a way for us to get to know each other a little bit better. So our department here at the city is community development. So what I'd like to ask is a couple people just to share with me when you think of community here in Lancaster, what comes to mind?
Downtown.
Downtown? Okay, yep, we think of the downtown because that's a place, right, that we can gather and that we see people, and there's some identity there with our downtown that identifies us as, you know, Lancaster. Who else?
Family.
Family, yeah, right? Do you have family here?
No, I actually live in Columbus.
Okay, but yeah, but you have family in Columbus.
Yes.
Right, so you're
Yes.
close to your family, and that feels like community, right? That feels like your people, right? So we talk about downtown,
Exactly.
the place, and then family is like the people, right, of your group. And we can create our family too. So we have people that we're related to, and then we have people that we can identify with as family that we love, support, get together with, enjoy. Who else? Who else has a definition of community? Or what that thing, when you think of community here in Lancaster, what do you think of?
I was just going to say, hi, I'm Angie. I also work at Fairfield County DD. Activities and events that are happening out in your, you know, neighborhoods or downtown.
Right, so things that can bring us together, kind of like this, you know, in a virtual setting when we need to, but also when we're able to gather in person, you know, those events that bring us together. So if that's what we think of when we think of community, what do we think of? What do you think of when you think of community development? How do you develop that community?
Support.
Who is that?
Support.
Support, okay. Say a little bit more about that, how you develop community with support.
When I think about it, I think of it as resources or support for the community, a place for people to understand what's available in the city.
Mm-hmm. Yep, kind of get the word out and supporting that community to come together. Who else? What do you think of when you think of community development?
I think of building in the community, like I don't know, like the new the new condos that are going up down on Wheeling Street. I think of those kind of things, like new additions, I guess.
Yeah. Again, that physical space, that physical place that's our community. Then developing that physical space becomes community development. All right, I'm going to call in Jeff Schmelzer. Jeff, can you unmute? Do you have some thoughts on what community development means?
First, I work for DD also, and I'm an adult SSA, just like Lisa Bully. And I guess community development to me would be, I don't know, scheduling events and things for people to do in the community to get people together and to learn more about their community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, this is Kyle. I also work for the Board of DD. I was just going to say, in addition to that, just kind of traditional things that occur each year, like, you know, you have the fair and the music festival, those things that people kind of look forward to each year or depend upon to kind of, you know, see the people in the community that they're used to seeing and enjoying those things together.
Yeah. Yeah, so we definitely have those things here in Lancaster, those things that bring us together, things that identify Lancaster as being special, the fair, the festival, a lot of events that we have like you said, have become tradition, or even new events that we want to become tradition once we're able to gather again together, like the, you know, the lighting of that, you know, New Year's ball, you know, downtown. And so, yeah, so when we think of community, we think of place, you know, the physical space, we think of the people that are here, and then we think of the events that bring us together. And so that's you know, that's what our department is really about. We are funded from a grant from the federal government, from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, primarily funded, I should say. This is a program called Community Development Block Grants, or CDBG. And the CDBG program has been around since the 70s, so it's been a long time, a long ongoing program through HUD. And it's very flexible, and the CDBG funds can be used for a number of things, primarily to benefit people with low incomes and areas, like a place that has predominantly low income people, but then also specifically people with low incomes. Like I said, oh, and it's also based on population. So communities receive CDBG funds based on their population, mostly big cities, Columbus, Cleveland, Dayton, they all get a direct allocation. The City of Lancaster actually is, although we have a smaller population, we do get a direct allocation. And that's important because then we get to decide how we want to use those funds. So this smaller communities like Sugar Grove, New Lexington, they get a allocation through the state. And so the state makes the decision of how those funds are going to be used, and then they grant funds to the smaller communities. So in our case, because we get our own allocation, a direct allocation from HUD, we come up with our own priorities. So like I said, I mean, CDBG funds can be used primarily for housing. These are funds that come from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, but also for economic development and for public facilities and for, nonprofit activities. And so there are a variety of ways that they can be used. And so because we have a direct allocation, we go through a planning process every 5 years to determine how our funds are going to be used. And so this is part of the process from HUD that we as a community come together every 5 years, and that's on our department to have a process to bring in, the feedback from the community. So that's not just us in the office saying, how would we like to spend these funds? But we actually engage the community, and so that we have a community process to determine how we should use those funds. So right now we're in the middle of that 5-year process, 2018 to 2022. And so come 2022, we're going to be doing a community engagement process to determine those priorities. And then the priorities get written up in what's called a consolidated plan. So our current consolidated plan is 2018 to 2022, and our priorities are housing, economic development, and then we have priorities for nonprofit organizations. And so that's really how those funds get spent. So as a department, we have a housing program for folks with low incomes. It's for homeowners, and it's an emergency housing program. So a lot of you work for DD, but then if you work for other organizations or you have other connections in the community, and folks who would potentially meet a low-income guideline. Our guideline is actually, the limit is pretty high because we're considered part of the Columbus metro area. So what we would consider, I guess, to be, have a low income, it's even higher than you might think. And I don't have that number on me at the moment. But anyway, just to say that homeowners who meet the low-income guideline are eligible for grants up to $5,000 for an emergency home repair. So that's like a roof or a hot water heater, furnace, some plumbing, something that needs repair, quickly. And that's a grant. And then we also have a rehab program. Now we're winding it up because, excuse me, this rehab program is funded by a state grant. So in addition to the CDBG funds that we have from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, we also have a grant through the state of Ohio. And the program is called CHIP, Community Housing Improvement Program. And that has funded rehab projects. So that's been up to $46,000 in rehab for homeowners, and that's to get someone's house up to code. So we're not redoing any kitchens. We're really doing the necessary renovations that will help someone get their house up to code. Again, these are folks that qualify within the low-income guidelines, and then that is a what's called a deferred loan. So it gets attached to the house, and then when there's a transfer of ownership, the person sells the house, transfers the ownership to someone else, then that loan gets paid off. So they don't have to pay the loan on an ongoing basis. They don't have to pay it until until the house is sold or they transfer ownership. Now the challenge with those programs is that we don't have a lot of money to do that. We've only done, you know, 3 rehabs a year with the funds that we have. And so we're looking for ways to leverage those funds. We're looking for ways to bring in more funding with the CDBG funds that we have, to kind of leverage additional dollars and be able to do more in the community. And so with that, there was an opportunity to apply for a competitive grant from HUD to do lead-based paint abatement. So we applied for that in August, and we actually got it, which I was pleased. I was very pleased, kind of surprised, but happy to you know, to be a recipient of this award. So it's $1.4 million. Oh, and just to put it in perspective a little bit, our regular CDBG allocation is about $500,000 a year, and we spend about a third of that on our in-house programs, which are housing. Like I said, these housing programs, fair housing, we do quite a bit around fair housing, and then also neighborhood improvement, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Then we spend about a third on economic development, and that's grants for small businesses, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and then about a third on nonprofits. And so I guess our challenge, or we received this, we were awarded this lead grant, excuse me, grant for lead-based abatement, and that's $1.4 million over 3 years. And we are allocating 30% of that to go for houses in the county. So 70% will go for houses in the city, and then 30% will be for houses in the county. And that program is for homeowners as well as renters. So this can also go for housing that is rental housing. The residents just have to have low incomes, and the homeowners have to have low incomes. And this is for lead-based paint abatement, but other health hazards in the home as well, like mold and other things that, you know, create health issues. And that's something that we started to see. Like I said, I've only been in this position since February, but started to notice that a lot of the people who come to us for housing assistance, for help with their home, they do have these other health issues. There's a lot of lead-based paint in Fairfield, in Lancaster, because of our older homes. They do have other health hazards in their homes. So, and then they have health issues, which, you know, unsurprising, but and very real. And so in this way, if we can help with health issues that are being caused by hazards in the home, then we're helping folks, hopefully, to get better, to feel better. And then when people feel better physically, you know, they have more options available to them in life, right? And they don't have as many barriers. And also when someone has a safe, decent home that's affordable, they also, you know, that reduces their barriers for other things in their life. So that's where we're headed. And so this lead-based paint, we're calling it the Healthy Homes Program. We're designing it now, and we will likely be taking applications in March of 2021. And then again, kind of revamping our housing program so that it's maybe not, you know, emergency housing and rehab lead-based paint, but it's more, we have a Healthy Homes program, have folks come and apply for us, and then we will just apply the dollar, you know, the funding sources as we know that they will fit. Oh, the other important thing for the Healthy Homes program is that it needs to be for families with children under 6. So when we start rolling that out, we're going to be reaching out to all of our community partners, really, doing our best to reach those families with low incomes who have children in our community. Again, homeowners and renters who may have lead-based paint or other health hazards in their homes, so that we can use this program and these funds to remediate those issues. So it's 10:22, and I want to ask, I have a few more things that I want to say, but I just want to ask any thoughts or questions from what I've said so far?
I was just wondering how do people apply for those programs?
Well, right now they call our office, and our office number is 740-687-6663. Kelly Scott is our assistant director, and she does all of our intake and talks with folks about applying. And her extension is 3401. I'm sorry, yeah, 3401, and my extension is 3400. So folks can just call our office. Eventually, we'd like to have an online application process. But right now, just have folks to call our office.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or comments based on what I've said so far? So when we talk about place, community being a place, the downtown is a great example of when we focus on a place, we can see some improvement, right? So I've not been here that long, but anyone who has been here for a while can attest to the development that you've seen downtown, the changes that you've seen downtown, the new businesses that have come in, the sidewalks, the streetlights, all of that has created a place. And then we've seen a tremendous amount of economic growth downtown. And now we have residential housing coming in, market rate housing coming in downtown. So in that same way, we now have a neighborhood-based strategy of community development. We have 6 wards in Lancaster, and so we are looking at kind of going neighborhood by neighborhood, working with people in that neighborhood, and finding out what they want to do to come together and develop their community, develop their place, and also develop their people in that place, and provide opportunities and events for people to come together and get to know each other. So we're starting on the south end. So this is the neighborhood south. If you go down South Broad, sort of east and west of South Broad, south of Memorial Drive. And we've already done a neighborhood cleanup in the summer, and that was a lot of fun. We did that in conjunction with the United Way's Community Care Day, and that was a nice combined event. Even though it was not the care day of the past or the future, it was the coronavirus care day, but we made it happen, and the United Way gets a lot of credit for making that happen. And then in this spring, we're going to work with Habitat for Humanity to do a neighborhood cleanup in that area, and we'll see where we are with the virus, but again, bringing out volunteers and working on yards, and just having an opportunity for people to come together. We're also focused on the south side of Broad Street as a commercial area, as an extension of the downtown. So basically the special improvement district of downtown ends at Walnut Street on South Broad. And but we do have some great businesses from Walnut to the train tracks, and we want to support them, bring them together, and look at ways that we can make that another sort of an extension of the downtown district. And to that end, we do, with our CDBG funds, we do give grants to businesses, and those grants are meant to to build their businesses so that they can create jobs. So the goal there and the priority there is job creation for folks with low incomes. So again, that's where the community can come together, the nonprofits can come together. The nonprofits who are working with folks who are looking for work, because these are businesses that have committed, you know, they get a grant for $7,000 to $50,000, and they are committed to hiring local people who are, we're hoping that they're unemployed, right? That they're people who need a job, that they are full-time jobs that are decent wages. Some come with health, you know, health insurance, and that these are, you know, like I said, creating jobs for folks who are previously unemployed and people who are local, you know, people here in Lancaster. And so those are the primary ways that things that our department is doing, the things that we're looking forward to. And I had this grand plan of doing, well, of course, going out and meeting everyone in person, and then doing community events, you know, neighborhood events, neighborhood by neighborhood, and kind of, you know, getting that community engagement. And then, you know, coronavirus. So, so I still have hopes of doing that. We haven't been able to do that virtually, but like in the South End, you know, we found some residents who are already active. They already have, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to start with the South End, because they already have a block club and a group of volunteers and people who are committed to the neighborhood. And then we want to kind of do that neighborhood by neighborhood, you know, building that up. So we just have 2 more minutes, but any other questions or comments?
Do you I'm sorry, did you say you have a website or something that people could look for the criteria to apply for some of the grants?
We don't right now, but that is our goal. I mean, we have, the city has a website, and we as a department, if you go to the city's website, there's a heading that says government, and you can look at all the departments, and you can go to the community development website. I mean, yeah, community development web page, but we haven't built it up yet to say that it has any information of significance. When we do our annual community development block grant process starts in about March, and those applications in the past have been due in April, May timeframe. So we put the word out to everyone, to all the businesses and nonprofits, to say this is the time to apply for these grants. And then also to say that with the CARES Act, we're also receiving an additional $500,000 for CARES Act CDBG funds. And those funds will be used for working capital for small businesses, local small businesses with, you know, under 25 employees, probably under 10 employees that have been impacted by the pandemic. And then also, we are also using those funds for foreclosure prevention. So we want to support the homeowners who have, you know, used our program, but who have also benefited from other community programs to keep them in their homes so they don't lose their homes. And we're also looking at doing a lot of education, starting to do more of an education program around home ownership, to get people to kind of learn how to do that DIY stuff that they can do at home, so that they don't have to come to us for an emergency, you know, repair or for rehab. And part of that will be also, you know, maintaining your home, but then how to keep your home, right, so that you don't lose it to foreclosure. So those are some other things that we're looking forward to getting underway. Well, it's 8:30, Rachel. I know you have to go and get your kids.
I was looking through the chat. I don't see anyone else. I did want to say, I look forward to being able to work with you guys on these programs, because like you said, it's COVID, so no one can do a whole bunch, but yeah, I think it's going to be, there's a lot of good opportunities in the programs that you guys have going on. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we enjoy being part of the community, and it makes my job a lot easier because we have such a robust nonprofit sector, and a great foundations, and just everything that we already mentioned, the fair, the festival, you know, there's so much going on here and so many people who really care and are doing such a great job, including the board of developmental disabilities. And so like I said, it makes our job a lot easier, and we're really appreciative to be a part of that.
We're happy to have you on.